Soldiers, we is gathered here today in the face of the conflagration of more than just the farms that some of you fresh-faced boys come from. Of more than the highfalutin metropoli that some of you dandies live so prosperously in. Of more than the forests and the glades, the moors and the mountains, the ponds, the lakes, and the rivers. But the conflagration of the world as we know it. Y'all are scared, and you should be. Rumors run through this regiment like the well-oiled pistons of the dwarf-fangled machinery that will help us win this fight. And fear sits in your bellies like an excited youth running through the rag district. And I'm not here to tell you it'll all be okay, but to tell you it's up to you to decide if you're up to the task of making it okay for everyone else. Your loved ones, your hated ones, mortal kind as we know it leans on you this day. There are some of those of a more religious leaning that claim our enemy is a punishment from the gods, that we stand no chance, will be given no quarter. Nine hells, they may as well say we should submit. But I say, no crime of mortals deserves a punishment of this magnitude. So if the gods really are behind this monstrosity, this devastation, then we do not march out there today to right our wrongs, but to right the ways we have been wronged. I won't ask if you're with me, because you don't have a God's damned choice. Instead, I say grab your swords, adjust your helmets, and open that gate! Roll for initiative!
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Encounter This. I am your host, James the Fickle Primordial Kid, and as always, my co-host, Freeman, the patron saint of napping, will be taking us through the Tarrasque on the Monster Manual, page 286.
And you may have noticed that this might be our one and only episode that is not listed as plural. It is the Tarrasque.
Singular, right? There's only one in existence?
Singular.
Yeah.
There's only one, or so the rumors say.
Right.
Yes. So I think we can't pluralize it. I think that would be going too hard against the grain.
No, there are a couple that I think we won't be able to pluralize, and it's cool that this is the first one.
Yes. The Tarrasque is quite legendary. I think it's like one of those things that stands out really glaringly to the first time reader of the Monster Manual, and you're like, I'm never, ever, ever going to fight this thing, am I? Just never going to use it, but it's beautiful to behold.
Well, that's not necessarily true, listeners. There are some chances you might get to use one.
Yeah, such as in a world-ending event where you have no chances at all to succeed.
Yeah.
But let's start off with, I'm actually going to directly quote the first paragraph in the Monster Manual here. It says, "The legendary Tarrasque is possibly the most dreaded monster of the material plane. It is widely believed that only one of these creatures exists, though no one can predict where and when it will strike." So the Tarrasque is a scaly, bipedal, 50-foot tall, 70-foot long creature. And it weighs hundreds of tons.
That's so large.
It's so very, very large. It has a bird of prey-like stance, and it sort of walks leaned forward and balancing itself with a tail. We're really sticking to this like kind of dinosaur theme over the last little bit, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
You'll notice I sent the pictures already. We'll talk about those real quick in the Discord. So we got imagery and artwork through all of the editions. And the first two are less leaned over. Not quite as bird of prey like.
Yeah.
But I find that actually makes them look like they're not as big. I feel like they look like normal-sized creatures. There's no like point of reference in those ones for there's no humans or anything near them. But to me, it makes me feel like they're smaller.
The first one kind of
when they're
looks like
standing
a
more upright.
kappa.
What's a kappa?
Kappa is the Japanese turtle with the bowl of water on its head. They haunt like lakes, and you feed them cucumbers with the name of your loved one carved into them, so they don't attack and kill them. But if you spill all the water out of their head, they dry up.
That's so good. There's a homebrew creature for you.
There's one in, I think, the Tomb of Beasts, if you guys are really interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, the 3rd edition, 4th edition, and 5th edition are all very alike in aesthetic. I mean, they all share the same sort of pieces and bits for sure. You're basically looking at this enormous tail. It's got jaws that can open wide enough to swallow basically any creature but the largest in the world. It's got 2 horns that jut out from its head and a thick carapace along its back. It's got 2 very small eyes, but it relied on them very little to detect its enemies. So damaging or even removing them actually didn't hinder the creature at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And its hunger was so vast that, it could maybe be satiated by devouring an entire town. The sheer destructiveness of this creature is like supposed to be so immeasurable that cultures are known to incorporate it into religious doctrine. And its sporadic and seemingly random appearance becomes the center of stories and legends of divine judgment and wrath, essentially. So because it's so random and it causes so much destruction, it must be the will of the gods sort of thing.
Wild.
Yeah, it's monstrous. And all told, it is believed to sleep and slumber beneath the ground and lay dormant for decades, if not centuries. And whenever it is awakened, it obliterates everything in its path.
Okay, that adds up. I like that lore. That's not unheard of.
Right. And that's basically it for 5e lore itself. But I have a few bullet points organized by previous editions as well.
I like how vague the 5e lore is.
Yeah, there's not much. There's really not much. It's a 2-page monster, but only because the image, the actual artwork, takes up a whole page.
Right.
So, it's really only a 1-page monster. There's not much there. Stat block's pretty sizable as well, though. So 4e specifically claims that it slumbers in the core of the world, so right at the center, and it was described to move at speed half again that of a human, whether on land, climbing, or burrowing. So fairly fast especially for its size. And it was, it could burrow that speed, which I thought was kind of terrifying. And despite its a penchant for pure destruction, it was neither evil nor chaotic, instead lacked the mind or consciousness to discern any sort of morality at all. It's just a mindless destruction machine, essentially. It was known for cutting through any defense and resistances of its enemies as well, which we won't see reflected, let's say now in the stat block. I don't think I've ever seen that in a 5e stat block where it, there's something that says, "Oh, I ignore so and so's resistance."
Right. Well, I mean, this is the 4e lore you said, right?
This is the 4e lore, yeah. So I don't know if that's reflected in the stat block there. I did not look at it, but. Still an interesting point. It also could hinder the flight of any creature within 200 feet or 61 meters of it, and forcing its speed to be reduced and its altitude to drop to no higher than 20 feet, making whatever enemy it is within its reach.
Wow.
So how it does that, I'm not sure, but I guess when you get near it, you're going to start slowing down and sinking.
Well, it's probably got a gravity of its own. Something this large.
Maybe it does. Yeah, fuck. I never thought of that. That's no moon.
Yeah, well, it would explain how it pulled things down and how things slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's. I've never been, but the experience you have when you stand in front of the pyramids of like Egypt or any really large structure and you look out is that everything outside is moving really quickly because you're under the influence of the pyramid's gravity.
Right.
So
that's pretty wild. this the origin of this creature, of course, is kept purposely vague, but there are claims that it was created by the primordials in order to purposely and periodically create instability so that they could remake the world. And the world is simply fortunate they only created the one. This is where your nickname comes into play. Okay. Of the fickle nature of these primordials. We're just like, every once in a while they feel like just resetting. So they just activate their monster and have it wreak chaos and murder and violence across the world.
Wow. That's same approach to civilization as I have to my wardrobe.
Oh, man. So that's all. I thought that was all interesting information. That's all from 4E. Mechanically, a little bit dubious here and there about what's listed, I think, but make a good point about the gravity thing. But otherwise, I think the lore. There's no reason why any of that lore couldn't be, applied to 5E in one regard or another. For 3E, we have the creature, like by design, would effectively devour the entire world, plants and all. However, after it wakes, it only remains active for 1 to 2 weeks and then returns to its slumber, which could be anywhere between 5 and 20 months.
That's now, not very long at all.
Not very long at all. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, that's insane. So this thing is like wreaking havoc a lot in 3rd edition. But every decade or so, it would actually ravage the world for several months instead, and then slumber for 4 to 16 years, unless disturbed. And that's weird range, 5 to 20 months, 4 to 16 years. Like, I think it's something to play with. I wouldn't go by those predictions necessarily. But they're giving you a little bit of leeway here on how often it might rise.
Imagine having to plan your week around knowing a Tarrasque is going to raise the earth.
Oh, man. I think that's probably why dwarves live underground, man. It's just like, forget it.
Yes, yeah.
And now, of course, in 3rd edition, its origins are often debated and mused as well. Theories of it being an ancient weapon or creation of evil wizards often discussed, but usually outright dismissed as well, because there's literally no evidence to the claims. So they just, kind of talk about it, make some uneducated guesses, I guess. But that's it for 3E. And they got a couple interesting bullet points from 2E. There's a book called Practical Planetology that claims that the possible origin of the Tarrasque was one of a whole species of Tarrasques that originated from the planet Falx. And that is a planet with a high population of mind flayers. So making this an alien creature that was somehow transported to, I guess, Toril.
Yeah.
And then another book from 2nd edition, also called The Complete Psionics, also claimed that the Tarrasque was apparently unfazed by mental and psionic attacks, which sort of, in its own way, supports, that first point.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. And I want to ask, would it have been Toril at this point, or would it have been Aber?
Oh, honestly, don't know. Because at one point there, it was called Aber Toril, like hyphenated, right?
Well, it's currently called Aber Toril because the two existed on separate planes, and then eventually they merged into one world.
Right. Right. Okay. But I mean, there's certainly no evidence or like timeline given that I found. I mean, this is mostly coming from the wiki as well. I didn't really dive into the full extent of these books myself.
Right. But, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, possible. I mean, it's pretty terrifying to think that maybe there's a whole bunch of them somewhere else. One's enough, right? But
yeah, especially on a planet full of mind flayers.
Yeah. And then the 2E Monstrous Manual, there was legends that told the upper carapace of the Tarrasque was riddled with gems and could be treated and removed with acid. And also dwarven blacksmiths were apparently able to forge metal from the underbelly of the Tarrasque, mixing it with the creature's blood and adamantine.
Do they have a name for that metal?
Not that I saw, no. Again, didn't dive too far into it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, cool idea. The problem is, like, hitting this Tarrasque at all, which we'll come to find out when we get to that stat block, is hard enough. So actually getting pieces off of it to work with be quite the ordeal, I think.
Or drawing blood, yeah.
Yeah. But that's more or less it for D&D lore. Not a terribly complicated or convoluted creature. Something very delightfully simple about it.
Yeah, I really like it. Very, very Godzilla inspired so far, it feels. Slumbering creature that exits the Earth's core to wreak havoc. It may not, and I mean the 50, specifically the 40 yard. It even kind of looks like a Godzilla mixed with a Dracorex or something.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually thinking that myself earlier, and I can tell you right now, because we're going to get into the cultural lore, that Godzilla must be the main inspiration for this creature, because the real world stuff, it is not.
Oh yeah.
Not at all. It's strange. I have no idea why this creature is called the Tarrasque at the end of the day. And I honestly, during the research, came across no references to Godzilla. So the only ones that I did have were me or you talking about it in our own time, about how it's like the Godzilla of D&D. That's literally all I had to go on.
That's crazy. I mean, let's dig into it. Tell me about the cultural lore, and then we can speculate.
I mean, first of all, I didn't expect it to have any cultural lore.
Oh, okay.
I thought this was probably going to be a unique D&D creature, or at least unique to more modern fantasy and tabletop RPGs. But this is a Tarrasque is a mythological creature from, you guessed it, Provence, France.
I was going to say imaginary beings, but
oh no, we've got a French mythological creature on our hands.
Love it.
I didn't think they had them. I thought they were just too obsessed with fattening up ducks to really consider fantasy-like things. But
I'm prepared to be corrected, but I think France was one of the first countries to ban foie gras.
Oh, was it really?
The farming of foie gras.
Amazing.
Because it is super bad for ducks.
I would just like to take a small moment and mention that, speaking of French mythological creatures, a friend of mine way back when I was in middle school, high school, we used to play a lot of video games together. His name was Brody. And he would try to convince me all of the time about fake lore. So he told me that Quetzalcoatl was a Mexican god, which, for a kid, not far off the truth. But he also tried to tell me that Leviathan was actually a French god called the Leviathan.
Well, I mean, I'm prepared to be corrected, but I would have been under the impression that Basilisk was French.
Ooh, you might not be wrong on that one, yeah.
Also, gargoyles are 100% French.
Absolutely. In fact, I don't know if I have a note in here or not, but I'll cover it. There is a very loose and slight connection to that.
The Gagui?
But basically, to the Gagui,
awesome.
Yeah. So basically, a Tarrasque, in this case it's spelled with one R, is mentioned in a book called Golden League by Jacobus de Voragine. It's a collection of hagiographies, which are biographies of saints or ecclesiastical leaders.
I actually knew that, believe it or not.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, the Golden League was widely read in the late medieval period, in the 13th century, and actually over 1,000 manuscripts of it have survived, which I think is pretty impressive for a 13th century book.
Quick side tangent. I know we're trying to keep these minimal, but hagiographies, and I believe the Golden League is mentioned by name in the early, I want to say 1920s book by Robertson Davey called Fifth Business, where the main character is actually a hagiologist after he survives being shot in World War I.
No kidding. All right.
One of my favorite books.
The Golden League is also a CD secret society in the Pathfinder universe.
That's cool. Love that.
I have no idea if it has any connection to that, but there it is. So in the real world lore, they are basically, we're looking at another chimeric kind of creature, a lion-like head, a body protected by turtle-like carapaces, 6 feet, with bear-like claws and a scaly tail.
That doesn't sound like this at all.
It doesn't sound like it at all. But also, in the town that is now known as Tarrasque, but once was called Nerluk, meaning black place, it was described as a dragon, half animal, half fish, thicker than an ox, longer than a horse, and sword-like sharp teeth as sharp as horns. Almost sounds like they're describing an alligator or something, or a crocodile.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that really works. That at that time, geographical sense, would they be seeing that creature up in that area of the world?
Well, large lizards for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're still talking about France, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, European lion was a thing at that point. Like, what do I know about giant lizards?
Yeah. I mean, you got crocodiles, down, down the Nile in that area of the world, which is like not exactly close, but almost maybe one was brought up and kind of survived in some waters or something like that. But essentially, like it was believed then that it had come from Galatia or Gaul. And it was thought to be a crossbreed between the ancient Leviathan and the Bonacon, which was a bull-like creature with inward curving horns and a horse's mane. And this particular creature has loads of name variations. So that's just the one I picked because I think that was the main one on the wiki page for it.
Cool.
So surprise, surprise, loads of weird name variations in that one. And basically, it also, the Tarrasque appears also, and I think probably within the Golden League book, in a story about Saint Martha of Bethany. Now, Saint Martha was a biblical figure appearing in the Gospels of Luke and John, and she was basically the sister of Lazarus and was witness to his resurrection by Jesus. And somewhere along the line, I'm not up on my European Christian history, not going to lie, but somewhere along the line, she was a saint, and it was known in this instance for being a creature that flung dung at its people and causing burns, the Tarrasque. And the town sought St. Martha's help. And when she found it in the act of devouring a man. And she tamed it by holding up a cross and sprinkling holy water on it, and then tying her sash around its neck. And then she led it to the village where they stoned and speared it to death.
Yeah, okay. I mean, she used the vampire tricks on it and then leashed it. Okay, sure.
Yeah. And here's a little piece of artwork for you in the Discord.
What do you say, God?
Saint Martha with a little rope tied around this thing, pulling out of a cave while it's eating a man and it's being stabbed. They're getting it all in one go in this image.
This looks a lot like a basilisk to me. It's much more,
doesn't it?
It's much more serpentine and squat.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it's still a sizable creature, but we're not talking gargantuan here.
Yeah. I think you might be right. I think this might just be an alligator that she just sprinkled its nose with holy water, shoved it across, and then snuck up behind it and leashed it.
It's just threw some water in its eyes and blinded it for a sec. There's another picture there of a statue that's in Tarrasque outside of a castle.
That I like. Why does it look like that?
Yeah, this is the more sort of modern imagery and depiction.
Okay,
it's very much got that turtle-like shell. Yeah. It's got that lion-like face.
Listeners, imagine the body of Gamera and the head of an androsphinx.
And there's another one, fiberglass structure one.
That is pure nightmare fuel. Does it have a mustache?
Yeah. I don't know. It looks like it does have a mustache. Maybe its upper lip, though. It's got human-like teeth, which is kind of creepy. Yeah. But and there are various festivals that are held and have been held as early as the 14th century around the creature, where these things like that, floats and fiberglass structure stuff are paraded through the streets and dances are done and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they really happen now, but they've definitely gone through 19th and 20th centuries to some point.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're not happening right now, but...
probably not at this moment. But that's more or less it. Other than that, a couple fun facts. This creature actually did appear on some heraldry in and around the time of these stories. And it was not only described as being a hexaped, but also having poison breath at some point as well.
Okay.
And so these sort of effigies are brought into festivals and sort of paraded through the streets. And there was also a French military 20-millimeter anti-aircraft gun called a Tarrasque.
Oh, no way. I guess that would have been the French answer to the flak cannon, I guess.
Sure thing. I would know basically nothing about weaponry, but then it would explain the D&D Tarrasque being anti-aircraft.
I mean, that's probably where it's from. Yeah.
Maybe its horns are actually just big guns.
It would have to be a lot. Like a 20-millimeter anti-aircraft gun is huge.
Yeah, is it?
This is the kind of gun that comes with its own chair. Like,
oh yeah, okay, one of those guys.
Yeah, like this is a fucking cannon on like a pivot swivel that you sit in. Like, they probably would have taken like 8 or 10 men to fucking man one of these things. Like a ballista,
crazy,
but bigger.
Yeah. But I mean, here we are, like, you know, there's not much to share between the lores. You can obviously see now why Godzilla didn't really come up. You know, when we're talking about inspiration for the D&D creature based on the real world lore, we've got like the shell on its back, and that's about it.
Yeah, this is kind of a lot more Gamera. Like, Gamera is smaller. It's a bitey turtle. It has gas that shoots out of its turtle holes to propel it through the air.
Yeah,
I think Gamera has fire breath. It's been a long time since I've seen a Gamera movie, listeners. I've been working my way through Godzilla.
Oh man, I haven't seen them since I was a kid. Any of them, but
I'm like, I think I just about to start the Godzilla 2016. It's a Requiem where they kill the Godzilla from the American Godzilla movies to remove it from Godzilla canon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You should listen to there's an Imaginary Worlds podcast episode on Godzilla. It's really, really cool.
Okay, sweet. I love the Godzilla movies. They're so fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot there that's very similar to what we're looking at, and a lot that's very, very different.
Yeah.
Fun fact, up until now, you said you're done. I was 100% convinced you were going to tell me the Tarrasque was the Elder Elemental for Earth.
Oh, yeah. Nope, not at all.
I just opened Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and it is something called the Zartan.
Zartan. Yeah, definitely nothing to do with that at all. Basically, there's one important thing to note before we get into the mechanics, and this is from the Dungeon Master's Guide, I think page 10 or 11, and it's a little sidebar where it kind of discusses a couple levels of like gods and stuff, and basically under the list of quasi-deities, they are said to have divine origin, but they don't hear or answer prayers, grant spells to clerics, or control aspects of mortal life. They are still immensely powerful beings, and in theory, they could ascend to godhood if they amassed enough worshippers. Quasi-deities fall into 3 subcategories. One, demigods, titans, and vestiges. The Tarrasque is a titan.
Okay.
So it's kind of a quasi-deity, essentially. And titans are divine creations of deities. And they might be birthed from the union of 2 deities, manufactured on a divine forge, born from the blood spilled by a god, or otherwise brought about through divine will or substance. So this is all like directly from the DMG. And this is important to note because this is like this is the first time at least that we've covered a stat block where the actual creature size is gargantuan, and in parentheses next to it, it says Titan. And I had to find out why it said that.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Okay, I like that a lot. The idea that you could have like a cult to the Tarrasque, and their goal was to ascend it to godhood for some unknown reason, like so it would raise the earth again, I guess.
That'd be really cool, yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's get this crazy machine. Maybe if we ascend it to godhood, if we get it ascended, it'll stop. Maybe it'll have more of a mind of its own if we can give it the power to have it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good way to stop it from just kicking our asses all the time.
Or maybe it just won't exist on the material plane anymore. It'll exist in, Mount Celestia. Right. They make it ascend so it raises Mount Celestia or something.
Yeah, that'll be another plane's problem. Yeah.
Take this, Borderlands.
So with that,
I don't normally drink this early, but this is.
Yeah, I mean, we've been recording after 10 o'clock at night on Saturdays a lot lately, and today it's a noon on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I have so much more energy. I can feel it.
Yeah, me too. I was just finished a pot of coffee and just feeling good. Sun's shining.
Got my dinner in the slow cooker.
Yeah, me too. What are you making?
I'm making a black bean chili.
Oh, cool. I got some chicken thighs, roiling in some oyster sauce and soy sauce and honey and sambal and all that stuff.
I love oyster sauce so much.
Throw some broccoli and beans in there later. Ooh.
Nice.
But with that, I will drink a lovely Blackmail Northwest Stout from Strange Fellows.
So I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I drank my last Blackmail last night while we were playing Starfinder. So today I am drinking a Fat Tug at 12:30 in the afternoon, which is a terrible idea. But it's the only beer we have left in the house.
Oh my gosh, Fat Tug.
So I've got a nap scheduled later.
So you're the patron saint of naps today, then?
Well, I'm letting you know because you are the patron saint of napping.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you have my blessings, hon.
Thank you. Make it a good
one. Go nap and be merry. Yeah, lovely. All right.
Okay.
I guess there was that one time I didn't have the Blackmail, which turns out was in the back of my fridge. So yeah, I have one now. Now you've got one. Yeah, now we're even.
That's fair.
We're all good. Yeah.
I mean, if Strange Fellows would sponsor us, this wouldn't be an issue.
This would not be an issue, yeah. We should probably stop demanding free delivery, though, at the same time.
I'd go pick it up. That's four beers every 2 weeks. Like, that seems worth it for the
totally
70 or 80 people who listen to this show every now and again.
I'll cycle down the road. No big deal.
All right. Tell me how I would use one of these things mechanically.
Oh, man. It's like, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of tough because it's so difficult to gauge how to approach this creature because, we have seldom, found ourselves in a situation where you're even running or facing up against a CR20 creature. This is...
Well...
seldom. I'm saying. Not like,
okay.
Like, how often do you do it? Right?
Well, spoilers. I have recently prepped a Tarrasque.
Oh, have you?
So,
well, that's interesting because this creature is a CR30.
Yeah, that's
so right at the gate. Like, I don't think a party can just take this creature on. You have to have other.
I'm not saying any more
armies.
For fear of spoilers of Rime of the Frost Maiden, but I have recently prepped a Tarrasque.
It's a hell of a creature. Is it CR30?
I'm really surprised you didn't come across that in your research.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I mostly just peruse the wiki especially for references from older editions,
right? And
I just stick with what's in the monster manual. I try to avoid, unless we discuss sort of otherwise, like we do with dinosaurs, try to avoid like adventure based lore, I guess.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, there. I don't know if it's. I don't want to say anymore. It's not.
Then don't. It's fine. I'm sure we have people listening that are currently playing Rime of the Frost Maiden. So, So we got the Tarrasque CR30. It's got 676 HP, or you can roll that at a 33 D20 plus 330.
That's so many D20.
So many D20. It's got an AC of 25 with natural armor. And again, gargantuan. This puts it at a 20 by 20 square pawn, essentially, on your board.
So that's...
you'd have to have an awfully large map to accommodate this thing if you were doing it in your living room.
It's 8 5-foot squares, is that right? 8 by 8?
Yes.
Wow.
It is, of course, unaligned and has a speed of 40 feet.
That's so slow. I think in 5-foot step.
Yeah, but it's also
feet.
It just covers so much territory already, right? So I always think of like speed. I'm like, how fast is it moving to get to its destination? But also, like, can you really get away from it?
Yeah.
You kind of can't. You can move your 30 and it's just going to creep up on you again because it's so large.
That's fair. Yeah.
So this thing's got strength of 30, that's giving it a plus 10, and a con of 30 with a plus 10. Everything else is very middling. Dex, Wiz, and Charisma are all 11, and Intelligence is very low at 3 with a minus 4.
Okay, so it's regular beast intelligence.
Basically, yeah. Very in line with the dinosaurs, in fact. It's got a couple boosts of saving throws for Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma specifically, because those stats are low already, I guess. They get a boost on the saving throws for that, so it's already bulking that up.
Yeah.
And then it is straight up immune to fire and poison, and bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons.
Makes sense.
Immune. No resistances at all. And immune to conditions of charmed, frightened, paralyzed, and poisoned. And it has blind sight 120 feet.
Okay, I like that.
So all above board, more or less, for a creature like this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fighting a CR30 creature and you don't all have magic weapons, like, just get the fuck out of there.
Right. It's bad. It's bad. So everything's, more or less sensible there. We look at the abilities it has. It has legendary resistance 3 times a day. I just wrote yawn. So I'm so sick of looking at it.
Yeah.
But there it is. It's going to just choose to succeed 3 times a day on a saving throw. It's got magic resistance, so it's already got advantage on saving throws against magic and spells. And then it also has the siege monster attribute, which it means it does double damage to objects and structures.
Okay.
And then the real kicker here is the reflective carapace. So anytime the Tarrasque is targeted by a magic missile spell, a line spell, or a spell that requires a range attack roll a d6. On 1 to 5, the Tarrasque is unaffected. On a 6, the Tarrasque is unaffected, and the effect is reflected back at the caster as though it originated from the Tarrasque, turning the caster into the target.
What?
So it is effectively immune to magic missile, line spells, and spells with ranged attack rolls.
That's insane.
Effectively immune, also possibly just shooting them back at you. It's insane. So you have to touch spell, area of effect spells, but not make sure they're not lying.
Yeah, you can't target it.
You essentially have to do a melee touch attack with a spell, or a limited number of spells that require a saving throw as opposed to an attack roll.
Wow.
You're severely limited in that regard.
I wouldn't say severely, but you're definitely like.
I mean, I guess it would probably depend on your build and what sort of caster type you are.
Yeah. So any ray spell is out. Ray, anything with ray or bolt in the name is gone.
Pretty much, yeah. Ray of Frost, Scorching Ray, Lightning Bolts, just like no bueno.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then that's it for the abilities, and we'll get into the actual attacks.
I feel like that's probably enough, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I'd say. I've just given him the ability to just not take damage, essentially.
Yeah.
Almost across the board here. It's got multi-attack. It can use its frightful presence, which we'll get to in this multi-attack if it chooses. And after it does that, it then makes 5 attacks. 1 with its bite, 2 with its claws, 1 with its horns, 1 with its tail, and it can use its swallow instead of the bite if it chooses.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and just cover the three most mundane ones. Claw and horns are both 19. Claw, horns, and tail, are all plus 19 to hit. Horns is a 10-foot reach. Claw is a 15-foot reach, and the tail is a 20-foot reach. And we're looking at claws at 4d8 plus 10 slashing, horns at 4d10 plus 10 piercing, and the tail is 4d6 plus 10 bludgeoning. And if the creature doesn't succeed a DC 20 strength saving throw, they're knocked prone by the tail.
That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right. But bear in mind, these are all just happening. These are all happening in one go, right?
Yeah.
So that's
for sure.
That's 2 claws, 1 horns, 1 tail, and then a bite, which of course is also plus 19 to hit, 10-foot reach, 4d12 plus 10 piercing. If a target, if it's the target is hit, it is then automatically grappled. Escape DC of 20, and while of course you're grappled, you are restrained, and the Tarrasque can't bite another target. However, it can use swallow instead.
Right.
So on the next turn, if you don't break free, it can basically still makes the bite attack, doing damage again. If you're larger, smaller, and grappled, you basically can automatically get swallowed, and you are blinded and restrained inside. Total cover against you, and attacks and other effects, of course, that originate from outside the Tarrasque. And then you take an additional 16d6 acid damage whilst inside. Okay. However, this is where sort of discovered this. We talked about your homebrew stat block for dinosaurs. If a Tarrasque takes 60 damage or more on a single turn from the creature inside of it, the Tarrasque must succeed a DC 20 Constitution saving throw at the end of that turn, or regurgitate all swallowed creatures.
That is so much worse than the Mosasaur homebrew.
Which, of course, when they come out, they're regurgitated, they fall prone in a space 10 feet from the Tarrasque. The Tarrasque dies, a swallow creature is no longer restrained by it and can escape the corpse by using 30 feet of movement and exiting prone.
Right. So is this where you got the inspiration for that Mosasaur homebrew?
I mean, I must have. I must have read it at some point, and because that's where I remember really like, oh, it seems like it would work. That would work, and then I read this. I was like, I must have just forgot it was in this stat blocker. It's probably in another one too. It might be under Purple Worm even.
Oh yeah, fair.
Yeah, but I must have just had it in the back of my head, but not quite realized it. And then the other thing is, so it can start this multi attack with its frightful presence. So each creature within 120 feet of it and is aware of it must succeed a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened for a minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, with disadvantage if the Tarrasque is within line of sight, ending the effect if it's successful. Of course, it being in line of sight is very likely to remain the case. So you can keep rolling that, but you're at disadvantage most of the time. And no matter what, if the creature is successful, it becomes immune to the frightful presence for 24 hours. So there is that. It's not much, but it's something.
Yeah, I don't think a minute is that long when you're dealing with creatures like this.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that the scale of this fight is huge. Again, I don't think it's a party of 4 or 5. Like you've got to have an army at your back. You probably have siege machines that probably have to be blessed with magic because it's going to be immune to the damage.
Yeah.
It's that's how I picture it. This is a siege monster, so it's going to wreck those machines as well. But to me, it seems like they're necessary in order to take something like this down. Like you have to have an army.
Well, maybe.
Against this thing.
It doesn't have a whole lot of HP. Like not almost 700, 6 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to do 60 damage on one round inside of it, that's really only 11, 12 rounds of doing 60 damage as one creature to take this thing down.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the idea is that if it bites one and then swallows it and bites another and swallows it, now it's got a higher chance of regurgitating because it's, I have 2 creatures inside,
right?
That have to amount to 60 damage.
That makes more sense
in one round.
Yeah.
The only other thing is that this creature does have legendary actions. So it's the usual 3 actions per round, and it happens after another target in the party has acted, and so it can throw out a claw or a tail attack as well. And it can move half of its speed, or 2 of those reactions it can use chomp, which is a bite or swallow.
Wow.
So
that's ruthless.
It can bite and swallow things pretty fast, essentially.
And then make a move on it.
Yep. So pretty terrifying all around. Not a complicated stat block, but still scary. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like how simple it is. There's a lot here, and this is I like you max out at 20th level in 5e, is that right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this is a winnable encounter for just a party.
It can't be. I don't think it can be at all. I think you'd have to be extraordinarily lucky. You'd have to have you're hitting with the right spells. You're nailing all of your rolls. You're doing almost max damage every time. This thing is somehow missing you with its plus 19 to hit. It's just like like you're at the mercy of the dice if you're just a party. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't believe in a no-win scenario. I very much have the same philosophies as Captain Kirk when it comes to D&D. And this kind of seems like the Kobayashi Maru. So what I want out of our listeners more than anything is if you guys can come up with a strategy for 4 PCs, classes or whatever, and to take this thing down, let me know what classes they are and what the strategy is. I would really, really be interested.
Yeah, it would be an interesting thing. There's a part of me that just like you have to have magic weapons and you got to get into melee. Like you don't have much of a choice, I feel like, and it's I'm always thinking paladins, smites. You're gonna get some heavy damage in if you're using the right ones,
right?
And you have the right build. But
my mind kind of goes the other way, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
like banish wouldn't work because it's a material plane creature. But like maybe drop a wish and just wish it away.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The cost of wish is going to be worth it in this scenario.
Yeah, or like
I only imagine it as a culminating. In order to make it a winnable scenario. Excuse me. In order to make it a winnable scenario, you've really got some world building to do, I think, and I just imagine dwarven siege armies backing up. The elves have come out to face off against this thing, as well as humans. Working together with everybody. You're just getting that sort of classic trope of all the races coming together to take on this one titanic task, if you will,
or at least have a group of players who aren't opposed to hiring other people to do their dirty work.
Yeah, right. And you can put the players in like a sort of an important spot in this fight, in this grand arena of combat to take this thing down. Maybe they're leaders of the army, and I have a hard time imagining them even really using much of their own actual skills. It'd be more of like a skill challenge for me. Like, okay, you need to direct these portions of the army, and then basically instead of you swinging your sword, you're going to be launching that trebuchet.
Right.
Stuff like that.
So maybe
you get in there
for Matt Colville's next book, Kingdoms and Warfare.
There you go. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Actual,
yeah,
proper D&D encounter. Maybe there needs to be a different rule set for encountering something like this.
Absolutely. And then there's no reason why you couldn't give the players the opportunity to get in there at the end as well and deliver that finishing blow firsthand. But just for the epicness of it. But I picture the scale on this just so huge and required to be that. There's also some homebrew stuff out there that brings the levels from 20 to 30 though. So
yeah, that's fair.
You always give that a go. But yeah, that's Tarrasque. I don't really have anything else. I think there was one story that I heard. I cannot for the life of me figure out who told it to me. I've asked around to a number of people, and no one knows the story. I don't know where it came from. But essentially, it was that this low-ish level group of players were in a town that was like highly powered by magic in all these ways. Like I think even the street lamps were, powered by magic and stuff. And they went through some crazy, scheme and managed to get a massive dispel magic off, like that went citywide, caused a citywide blackout. But the DM had established in the lore that the Tarrasque was slumbering, but it had been put to sleep. And it was trapped by magical tethers beneath the city. And the players accidentally undid them.
Okay.
And he basically had no choice but to have the Tarrasque come up and it like totally shifted his whole campaign. And it was like, okay, now we're basically have to deal with, this tyrant ravaging the world. And that's now the narrative. He's just kicking himself for planning that. He's like, oh, it'd be really clever. Be a secret under the city that people forgot about. And boom, dispel magic. And it was so well rolled and so wide, this dispel magic, that he didn't have much of a choice. He didn't feel like
Crazy. I don't know if any of our listeners out there listen to Titans of Altera. It's an offshoot actual play podcast of Sneak Attack, the now defunct actual play D&D, and then Homebrew System podcast. But in that series, each player has their own Megazord, Zoid, Gundam type thing that they get into. And then fight these giant monsters and hold off like Pacific Rim, the city at bay. It's a really, really neat idea, and I wonder if a Tarrasque will make an appearance in that. Most of his creatures are homebrew, but it would be a really cool. Josh, if you're listening, throw in a Tarrasque next season.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And I just double checked that there's the book called Epic Legacy by 2C Gaming. Is the one that extends you from level 20 to level 30.
Okay, cool.
Apparently it's pretty wild. Danny Greyhood, who helped us design the logo, he messaged me the other day. He's reached level 20 and his cleric. And his DM is introducing that homebrew book. So they're going to 30.
That's awesome. Good for them.
And he can basically ascend to godhood through it, which is pretty crazy.
I mean, that's what my Pathfinder character wants.
Right. So I'd say we'll put that in the reading list. Epic Legacy.
Yep. And we'll throw in Titans of Altera as well, because I think it's worth a listen. It's a good show. They deserve all the love.
Yeah, sweet, cool. But yeah, anything else for you on the old Tarrasque?
I can't talk about it, honestly. Like I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it.
It's fine. When and if it does come into play, maybe we'll just have a little Patreon exclusive chat about it.
It's actually a pretty big if, I think.
Yeah,
but knowing you guys, it's a when.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If it comes up, we'll be sure to have a little sidebar.
Yeah, little Patreon Dungeon Master decompress.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. Okay, well, what about you listeners? Any experience with Tarrasques out there? If anybody's got a solid 4-party makeup, I want to hear about it. If it's good and I like it and I think it's plausible, you know what? You may even win a set of dice. If you like what we do, or you want to request a creature, or you just want a handwritten thank you letter or access to the notes that we provide these shows, or we produce these shows from, you can find all that stuff on patreon.com/encounterthis. If you want little tidbits of information, you can find us on Twitter at EncounterPod, on Facebook.com/EncounterPod if you still use that platform, or if you want to see these show notes, if you want to see the images of the Tarrasque from 5e or the taxidermied Periaton from last episode, you can find us on Instagram.com/Encounter.pod. And if you want to check out our Gargoyles episode or any of our old back catalog, you can find it on the web at EncounterThis.ca. Big thank you guys for listening as always, and we will see you in 2 weeks with our next episode.
See you, friends.